The world of personal finance is in a state of disarray right now. Consumer debt is at all-time highs and savings rates are the lowest they've been since the Great Recession. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 statistics that I think will be illuminating and ultimately probably challenge a lot of things that you think to be true about personal finance. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life180. In this video, we're talking about the state of personal finance, what you can ultimately do to be better than average with your money so you can live an above average life. There's this old saying out there that says being average with money leads to a below average life. And ultimately, I think that is true. And a lot of times I think people believe, unfortunately, that, just because they don't make enough money, they're not able to get ahead, and that leads to their behaviors. But ultimately, what I have found and what I've seen with a lot of people that I've coached with personal finance and financial efficiency is I see people that have made very little, that have been very successful, and I've seen people make a lot of money that are not so successful and they're just riddled with debt, right? And so in this video, I'm gonna share 3 statistics that I think are gonna challenge some things that are gonna get you to think about what you need to be doing for yourself to be a little bit different, to be, have a little bit more of an edge to be able to accomplish your financial goals. And hopefully it'll make sense and we'll be able to get into it. So the first statistic that I want to share is that 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Think about that. 62% of Americans, if they missed a paycheck, if they got sick, if they got hurt and didn't have disability insurance, or even if they did, there's typically a waiting period for disability insurance to kick in. 62% of Americans would not be able to pay their bills if something negative happened to them. That is a really dire position. Now, a lot of people are going to say, Chris, listen, a lot of people just don't make enough money, right? They just don't make enough money. And so therefore, they don't have enough income to be able to save, and so they can't get ahead. But here's a statistic that I think is going to surprise you. 51% of Americans that earn $100,000 a year or more, according to Time magazine, are living paycheck to paycheck. 51% of Americans earning 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. So what that tells me is that there's not really an issue with income or a lack of income. And I see this at every level. Obviously, there's a certain income where you're able to live a better standard of living, and like the stress of the financial burden of being able to meet the bare minimum bills kicks in. I don't want to not be empathetic to that fact, because yes, obviously I get it, that's true. But there have been a lot of studies out there that show about $70,000 of household income is like the bare minimum that you need to be making to be able to kind of make it work, right? And to be able to save money. And so if that's the case, then that's 2 people earning $35,000 a year, and I don't think that that's hard to do in today's day and age, right? And so when we kind of break it down and show that 6-figure earners are not really saving that much more, they're not in a much better position as far as living paycheck to paycheck than the people that are earning less, that just kind of is indicative, and it's proof in the pudding that it's not really an income issue, it's a behavioral issue, it's a relationship with money issue. And so I would encourage you to take a look and say, hey, are you one of those people? Are you one of the 62% that are living paycheck to paycheck? And if you are, what can you do about it? Do you have a budget? Are you intentional about your money? Do you measure the things that are coming into your life and the cash flow, the inflows and the outflows of your life with your money to be able to manage it and make the right decisions? Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are bipolar when it comes to their money. They don't want to be in touch with the reality. They don't want to hold themselves accountable and have to restrict themselves. So they go out and they spend money on things that they don't even understand. They don't even know where their money's going. And so if you're not measuring it, at the end of the day, you're going to find yourself in a really dire position. And that, unfortunately, is where most of Americans are right now. Now, if that's you, I will say this. I have a video that's coming out in the next couple days that's going to be talking about how to earn extra income as a side hustle in very unique ways that I think every single person can do. So you should make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified when that video comes out. All right, so the next statistic that I want to share is kind of a piggyback on the first statistic, and that it's 43% of Americans do not have $2,000 in case of emergency. They couldn't tap into $2,000 of cash if their car broke down, if their AC went out on their house, if they had an issue with their pool, if their roof sprung a leak, if their hot water heater blew up. If anything negative like that happened and they needed to come up with $2,000, they wouldn't be able to do it. That's a really nasty problem. Now, that's 43% of Americans. Now, I'm gonna kind of do a 2-in-1 statistic here because I think it's really important. One of the things, if you follow this channel, you know that I'm a big proponent of saving money, building an emergency fund, building the foundation of your financial life. If you haven't watched it already, I would encourage you to go click on this link and I'll put it on the end screen if you wanna watch the rest of this video, but it's called my Life 180 Pyramid Talk, and I call it the Life 180 Pyramid Talk because of the fact that it's all about building your life like a pyramid. And building your foundation first. Like a pyramid, at the bottom is the biggest, and you need to build a foundation of safety. You need to save before investing, build your emergency fund, right? That's what it comes down to. And unfortunately, this $2,000 number, 43% of Americans not being able to have access to $2,000, it to me is a complete travesty in this country. And the wealthiest nation in the history of this earth, to have 43% of Americans not be able to come up with $2,000 is just an atrocity. Now, I'm gonna take it to the next level. Only 10% of Americans have 3 months of emergency savings saved. 10%, that's it. And you're not really protected. If you understand the average time it takes to find a job is about 1 month for every $10,000 of income you earn. So what does that mean? If you earn $60,000, you need 6 months. If you earn 100 grand, you need 10 months of just to be average, just to be prepared for average. But I got news for you. If we're going into a recession, if we're going into a potential depression, if we're going into this debt crisis that we're going into, and you know times are going to get hard, which I think most people in this country are feeling like times are going to get hard, are you prepared for that? And if you don't have that emergency foundation built, I'm going to say that you're not. And so I would really encourage you. I just released a video on the debt crisis, on things you could do to prepare for the debt crisis. I'll link it up here. Check it out. And I would say go watch that video, and I think it will really help you get prepared for that and think about things a little bit differently. If you don't think there's a debt crisis, go watch that video because I got a lot of statistics in there that are gonna help you understand what we're really coming into. So the third statistic that I wanna share is the fact that not only are people living paycheck to paycheck, and not only are people not saved enough, but people aren't invested enough either. They don't have enough retirement savings and retirement investments in their retirement accounts ready at every single age across the board. If you watch this channel, you know I talk a lot about the impacts that things like market risk and inflation and all these things have on our ability to save and reach our retirement goals, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all doing, right? We're trying to maintain our standard of living. We're trying to save a certain portion of our income, and we're trying to get that money to work for us so we can be financially free. Unfortunately, people most of the time are on the hamster wheel and they're running until they're 65 years old, and then they get there and they realize they don't have enough. And the statistics that I'm going to show you now, I should say, are going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now take a look at this. On average, 35 to 44-year-olds have $131,950 in their retirement accounts. 45 to 54-year-olds have on average $254,720. 55 to 64-year-olds, when they're about to hit retirement, have on average $408,420. And then of course 65 to 74-year-olds, which are not better, but people are working longer and they're working into what would be traditionally their retirement years now, because out of necessity they're doing so, have an average of $426,070. When you break that down, if you understand the 4% rule, what does that mean? $426,000 there is going to equate to about $16,500 a year in income using the 4% rule when you back that out. Now, of course, that person's going to have Social Security, but my guess is whoever it is that saved up that $400-something thousand, they probably did so earning a much greater income than Social Security plus $16,000, right? So that person, to be able to maintain their standard of living on a guaranteed basis for the rest of their life, is up the creek without a paddle. We have a massive savings issue in this country. And one of the things that, and I'm gonna put it on the end screen once again, is the Life 180 Pyramid video talking about the importance of financial structure. These things that I'm talking about right now lead to the importance of you understanding about financial structure in your life, and stop chasing these big rates of return, trying to invest and take all this risk on because it's the market cycles that you're going to have to ride. The question is, are you prepared for those? Are you going to have enough savings? Are you going to have enough emergency fund? Are you able to weather, when times get tough? And if you're not, you're going to pay the price. And that's why I'm doing these videos right now, to try to open people's eyes, to get to see how they can start making small changes and sometimes bigger changes in their own lives and their own personal finances to get to where they want to go. Now, my encouragement to everybody is to create a budget. The only way you're going to be able to start not living paycheck to paycheck, saving an emergency fund, getting to that 3, 6, 12-month period of emergency savings, the only way you're going to do that, the only way, is to be intentional and to build a budget and to track the inflow and outflow of cash in your life the same way that a business would track the inflows and the outflows, the revenue and the expenses. Your income is revenue, everything, your lifestyle is expenses, right? That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to start running your personal financial life the way that you would run a business. It's that simple. If you do that, you can be successful. You can slowly gain control. Some of you can do it more quickly. But what I'm going to do is, if you are interested in getting this budget sheet, if you want to get access to a budget sheet that I have, I've got a fillable PDF that I want to give you. All you have to do is email operations@life180.com, and I will have that budget form emailed to you personally by my assistant. I know it will add a ton of value to your personal life, so you can track what you have going on in your life, so you can actually regain control of your financial life, take control of your personal finances by measuring the inflows and outflows of everything that you have going on. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Got videos like this coming out every single day. Till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.